You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Spirit Dimension with your host, Kerry Greenaway, right here on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to The Spirit Dimension. My name is Kerry Greenaway and this is the show that we try to explore the other side to the unexplained, all the spiritual, metaphysical, esoterical kind of subjects that we all know and love as much as the paranormal. Now tonight I'm joined in the studio by such a lovely lady. Her name is Clare Hinks. She is a psychic medium. She does platform mediumship, which always astonishes me how somebody can get up in front of a group of people and do that. Good evening, Clare, and how are you?
Hi, Kerry. I'm fine, thank you.
She's a little nervous, so you need to all be very kind to her tonight in the chat room. So you've been working yourself up to this, haven't you? This is well out of your comfort zone.
Really is. But I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. I'm kind of, it's good. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
That's what we keep saying, isn't it? It's all good in the hood. So, Clare, right, let's start off. When did you first realise that you had this kind of talent that you could connect to spirit in the way you do?
Okay, so when I was about 14, it really started for me. I was a bit of a sensitive teenager, I suppose. I was aware of my emotions, and I just began hearing voices in my head, literally hearing voices in my head and in my ears. I didn't really know what to do with that to start with, but my mum was always very aware. She used to go to mediums and tarot readers and things, and so I was quite lucky to have her, because she actually called on one of those people to say, you know, my daughter's hearing voices, and I didn't actually know what to do with it. It was to the point where it used to keep me awake at night, and I would lie in bed. It would be like being in a busy pub and hearing the drone of people talking, but not being able to turn it off. So one of these people, another medium, told Mum some things I could do to kind of gain control of it, I guess, which is what I did. And then I kind of went from there, really.
So that's quite a young age to start having this. I bet that was quite scary at that age.
Do you know what? I don't ever remember feeling scared by it. More really intrigued and like, oh, what's going on? Like, who are these people? Never really scared. But I lost my dad at a really young age. So for me, I guess, and that was a turning point for my mum, because when we lost him, she kind of thought, it opened up her door for her to sort of think, well, what happens to us when we pass? And so we always talked about him. We always kept him alive anyway within the family. And when I had a visit from him at that age, at 14, 15, it didn't frighten me. It just comforted me.
That's nice, isn't it? Because you had that comfort from such a traumatic, I would have thought, experience at a young age.
Yeah, it was really comforting. And because I obviously didn't know what to do with all these voices, and there was not one person ever was singled out. Well, not for a long time, no one person was singled out talking to me. It was just like a lot, like a room full of people talking. Whereas when I had that visit from my dad, he was the first one that I could single out and kind of go, my God, it's my dad, And so my mum was the first person that actually had a proper reading from me, because I was so young when he died. I was only 2 when he died. And so there were things about them, their relationship and their history that I didn't know about because I was so young. So I was able to give her validation from my dad, which was lovely. And that was the first point, I suppose, we all realised, actually, there's something in this, what's going on. And it just kind of, that was it. It just became part of me, part of who I am, really.
Okay, so when you hit your teenage years, which is always quite difficult for girls, did you find that your experiences increased, or did you shut down through those years?
They did increase. I had a friend who, between the two of us, we kind of seemed to spark each other off quite a lot. We had a lot of energy between us, and somehow or other I was always really hypersensitive when I was around her, just sensing energies around in buildings and also all over the place. I can't even remember, I can't even tell you, it just used to happen in the strangest places. And it just, after I suppose about 16, it became a bit of a party trick. So my mum would say to me, I've got a friend who's, really would like to talk to you. So I would give her friend a reading, or Joe Blogs or whatever. And then we do anything with it. It was always there in the back of the cupboard, if you like. Mm-hmm. But I didn't do anything with it. I was taking my exams, and then I was leaving school, and then I got married and had children and all the rest of it. And I just didn't do anything with it, really. I mean, I chose who I spoke to about it. So if I felt somebody needed to know, I would tell them. But it wasn't something I used every day, or even thought about every day, to be honest, for probably 15 years.
Okay. So what point then did you then go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start embracing it?
Well, that would have been when my daughter was about 2.5. So about 4 years ago. A person that I think we all know.
Yes,
Ashley
I think we do.
Who is my cousin. For those of you that don't know, is my cousin and an amazing paranormal investigator.
We're talking about the friend of the station, Ashley Nibb, who, as you all know, is also a friend of mine. So, Ashley has actually introduced me to Clare, hence, one of the reasons, because I got talking to her and she's amazing. So I have asked her on the show. So thank you, Ashley, for introducing me to your cousin. So Ashley then came to you and said,
yes, and he said, I'm going to this pub in Swanage, the Royal Oak in Swanage, and I'm going to do this investigation there, and I think you should come and take part and be the medium and do your thing. And I was like, no, I can't do that. What are you talking about? And he just said, yeah, you can. Come on, come. It'll be great. So it kind of just gave me that push that I needed, and I went. And after that, it was like a light switch went on, and everybody there was, completely embracing the spiritual and the fact that this pub has got so much going on in it with regard to hauntings and ghosts, and the energy there is amazing. The people are amazing, and it just opened that door for me. And when I came home, I said to my husband, I'm not going to go again. I'd only go once. And then I just keep going back now. after that, I just couldn't ignore it, and I don't even know what happened. My mediumship has just grown from that point to this, really, and it still is growing. Hence the fact that I'm now on the radio with you.
Yeah, this is very, very true.
Yes. So that's when it started, really, and then I just I say started again, and I just said then, right, I'm going to embrace it, and I have been, and the more I embrace it, the better it gets. So
have you had any kind of formal training for this? Have you actually sat in a circle or, done, had another medium show you the way, as it were? So when the light bulb went on, did you then go, right, okay, I better get to know this gift and learn how to use this gift? Or did you just solitarily flow with it?
Nobody's ever shown me how to use my mediumship. I have everything I've done, I've pretty much just done myself. I've been to the odd workshop on and off over the years, but I've not worked with another medium who's shown me the way. Once I said, right, I'm going to embrace this, I've read a book once, and in that book it said, sit down quietly and ask for the person in charge of your development to step forward. This is about getting in contact with your guide and being able to have a bit of spiritual direction and a bit of help and support from them. And so that's what I did when I felt that I needed to. That's what I did, and since then that's all the help that I've had from them, from spirit.
Okay, so that first experience where you sat down and you actually connected with your guide, was it who you thought it might be, or was it somebody completely different?
I have no idea what to expect. Who is your guide? How do you know who your guide is? Everybody says, oh, mine's a Red Indian, or, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be. It's typically a Red Indian guide, or, but the man that stepped forward for me, yes, he did look like an Indian, but he didn't make me feel like he was an Indian. He was bare-chested and he had long black hair, but he didn't make me feel like he was an Indian. He had an animal skin waistcoat on and tan trousers, and he told me that his name was Tong Wu, which sounds almost Chinese, I suppose, doesn't it? A bit. And he supported me and he directed me and he's just kind of led me forward. But as time's gone on, I've since got new guides, other guides. I still have him in the background, but I have probably 6 or 7 guides now, all doing different things, and who step forward and support me with whatever I'm doing when I need them. But my vibration's changed, and because I'm working on a higher vibration now than I've ever done before, so my guides have changed quite drastically.
Okay, so going on that, because I have 4 different guides that I work with depending on where I'm working and how I'm working. And I'm not a platform medium, I'm just putting that out there now. I'm not a medium at all. But when I work intuitively in the way I work, I have 4 different ones that come forward at different times. So how have you found they've evolved and changed for you?
Sometimes through meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, I'm in the habit of grounding myself and kind of just working through my chakras every day, and asking for whichever guide to stand with me, work with me throughout the day. And since I've been doing that, some days I'll do a meditation and I will focus on having a guide in that meditation. And other days, probably only about a month ago, I sat down outside in the weather, in the lovely sunshine, and I did exactly that in the morning, and I grounded myself, and a completely new guide just stepped forward in place of who I was expecting and told me that because of my vibration and where I was going and how I was changing, it was now going to be him that I saw daily for a minute. So I was like, oh, okay, thanks for that. So that literally, I just don't know. I don't really know when it's going to change. Sometimes I might have him for the next 4 years, or I might have him for the next 2 months. I just, I don't know.
It's just how it happens.
Yeah, they're in charge, aren't they?
Oh, yeah,
Basically.
they certainly are. In the most unexpected ways, sometimes I find too.
Yeah.
So, going on your guides, and you've said your vibration has got higher than it was before. How have you noticed that how you work has changed throughout the time you've been doing it? So you said right at the beginning you had like a babble of voices. How do you then start differentiating in that babble individual spirits?
So over the years, the babble has become less, and it's more about individuals. So whereas I used to sit down in front of somebody and I'd say to them, it's about finding the best way to work with spirit. So it's like, it's like starting any new job, and like if you're going to pull pints in a pub, you have to learn how to hold the glass and how quickly or slowly to pull the pump. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the similar sort of thing. So you have to learn what works. Like, so when I used to sit down and do a reading for somebody, I would say to them, give me the name of the person that you've lost. So they would give me the name of the person, and then I would say in my mind, I would like to contact whoever, Joe Bloggs, for this lady. And you know what? Usually it would work, and she would get a good validation, and that's how I used to work. Mm-hmm. Now I prefer, when I do a one-to-one, I let somebody sit down in front of me, and then I just tell them who is stepping forward. I'll tell them names if I get names, which I don't always, and the names aren't always those names of the people that have passed. They might be names of somebody that's in their life now, but they'll just do that. The spirit will just give you names out of validation. And if I do a group, I'm still finding that sometimes that's can be a little bit complicated, because sometimes I will jump from people. So I'll be going quite happily along with one person, and all of a sudden I just want to talk to somebody else, but I don't really. It can be quite quick. And then I kind of forget. I've got to get control of that.
So you're still learning on this journey that you're taking at this moment in time.
Oh, totally. I'm learning every day. Well, aren't we all? But I like to think. I always say to people, what you see is what you get with me. I'm just a normal, everyday person. I just have this amazing gift, and people are just so kind, and they've given me everybody that I've done readings for has been so thankful and so grateful and so lovely, and they've all said, oh my God, you're so amazing. But I'm not amazing. I just have this gift, and about time I shared it. So I'm just going with the flow now. I'm not trying to hold it back anymore. I'm just embracing it.
Okay.
And I just try to focus on the people where there's a spirit. So if I'm in a group of people, I focus on one person, and then I know straight away I've got to move to you now, but I need to finish there. But spirit can be quite impatient, actually. And they can be like, oh, excuse me, I'll be talking to somebody, like I'll be talking to you, for instance, and then I might have, I don't know, Sarah Jane over there in the corner, and then her dad might be in spirit, and he might go, excuse me, I'd quite like to talk now. And I'll be like, can you just hang on a second?
I was going to say, do you have to be quite strict when you get something like that happening to you? You have to go, no, I'm actually just doing this. I'll be with you in a second.
Yeah, but actually it's quite a good entertainment factor, because people always laugh, because I just go, right, hang on a second. You're going to just have to get in line. just wait a minute, love. Take a ticket and wait your turn.
It's like a raffle ticket. You'll be fine. I'll get to you when I can.
Yeah. Just hold on.
So when you're reading a person, do you start off with like one sort of like family member or something like that coming forward, and then you find other members of the family come forward on that energy level, or do they all come through at once?
Families will come through sometimes all at once, but usually, like, I might get Granny first, because she's the lady that does all the chatting, and she wants to talk, and then half an hour later, all of a sudden we might get Dad, and then brother, and but You don't, just because you've got one family member doesn't mean you're going to automatically get all of your family members, because if it's not, if that's not the way it's meant to be, that's not the way it will be. You know, it's like phoning up your mum and speaking to your mum, dad, brother, sister, but you don't always, do you? Sometimes you just talk to your mum.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? So that's how it is when you come for a reading. You don't always get who you expect to get, and you don't always get all the people that you think you will get.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, good.
Because you can't like demand that, can you? You can't sit there and say, I only wanted to talk to my nan and she's not coming through, so sorry, I'm not interested in the rest of you. When you granddad on the other side,
I
you know,
say,
the other side
always
of the
say
family.
to people, you know, be grateful. Just be grateful who. Just be grateful for who has stepped forward, because at the end of the day, you've come for a reading and your spirit family know what you're doing. They know that you've come and they'll step forward. So if you wanted to speak to your friend that's passed, but actually it's your granddad that stepped forward, don't be disappointed with that. Be grateful that granddad still wanted to come and talk to you. Just because your friend hasn't stepped forward doesn't mean that she wouldn't or he wouldn't another time.
Yeah. So how much energy does it take them to come through to you? Or are they using your energy? How does that energy vibration work?
So the way that I understand it is their energy will overlap mine. I think I say like when I've done a group or a couple of people and it's been quite intense, I always say like the next morning I have a spiritual hangover. because it is really, it just knackers me, like it makes my eyes go all like heavy as if I'm really tired, and it's just the energy, because they just kind of, my guide is working with them to kind of bring them into my energy to make it clearer for me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally makes sense to me. So the question would be, and I'm sure this is a question that's been asked many, many times, and we get this in the field, the paranormal field, as much as we do on the mediumistic field. How, if you had a foreign link there that didn't speak English, how does that work? How does that translate into?
You reading my mind?
Yeah, I'm a little
so
bit.
Funny.
No, I'm not.
A lady. I've never done that. I've never done this before. And a lady came to my house not very long ago with her mum, and they sat here, and her mum didn't speak a word of English, and everything I said she translated, and she translated to her mum and translated it back to me, and I was like, oh my god, how are we even doing this? But the spirit was obviously like their, whatever the nationality, Polish or whatever they were, their nationality, but that's okay because it's through thought. So spirit will give it to me in a way that I can understand it to be able to give it to you. So whether that be in pictures or whether I hear it like a thought, like I hear it in my own language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's almost like they're like a little translator.
Yeah, so I'll just hear it in English, but I will know. Usually, I know, like I'll hear like a twang, like my tongue will want to do a funny thing. And I'll go, yeah, that's a whole other show.
Yeah, that's the other channel.
I get like I want to roll my tongue, and I'll say I feel like I want to speak like blah, 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 like a Scottish or Spanish or something. The girl was at a group I did the other day, and she was from Germany, and her German grandmother came forward, and her German grandmother didn't speak any English. I didn't know that, and I said to her, I feel like I want to go blah, 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 at you. I said I don't know what I want to say in that language. I said, but I just know that she's not English. And she said, no, she's not. She's German, and she didn't speak a word of English. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. So I always wondered about that. Always wondered about that one. Now, we watch programs and stuff like this on TV, and there was a show called Sensing Murder where they used to get mediums in who used to work on cold cases, and they used to be able to connect with like murder victims and stuff like that. Have you ever had any experiences in regards to that, where you've been out and about and all of a sudden you've had a spirit come to you and it's, you know, maybe not nice circumstances and, you know, you've sort of felt a bit weird about that. Have you ever had that?
Not when I've just been, no, out randomly. No, I've had a nasty feeling like that when I was doing the investigations at Bodmin Jail on Bodmin Moor. There's a part of the jail there where it's really, the feeling there is just not very nice at all. It was the naval part of the prison, and when you walk, you kind of walk down a hill like on the outside of the building, and there's all the windows, and you kind of walk around. It's very dark at night, extremely creepy, and just a horrible, horrible feeling. Amazing place to visit in the day. Recommend a visit there, but I could hear them. I could hear them all banging. I could hear them banging on the bars. I could hear them banging their plates. Just, yeah, really, that wasn't a very nice feeling. That's, yeah, a bit creepy. And when I went to Swanage, actually, I did feel the presence of a man there who was not happy. He was like one of the original landlords there, and I was really angry. I didn't feel myself for the whole time I was there, actually. I felt quite angry, and yeah, I kind of took it on. I kind of felt him, you know, felt his presence quite heavily, and he wasn't happy, and he wasn't a kind man. He wasn't very nice to women, and yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, so I suppose I have picked up a few.
So do you shut yourself off when you get that kind of vibe? Because they're more like general experiences rather than individual spirits, aren't they? They're more like a psychic link rather than a mediumistic link.
Yeah, I've never had, like, I like to think of the mediumship more for helping people, you know, validating people, giving somebody a nice message from their loved ones. That's my way with it. You know, that's what I feel I need to do with it, if that makes sense. Yeah, but having said that, I have been bitten by the investigation bug, which kind of makes me want to go and put my feelers out. And people have been coming to me lately locally and saying, oh, you need to come to my house because there's this really weird feeling in my house and there's a man there, and various different people have said things like that to me lately. So I kind of feel like I'm being pulled in a slightly different direction anyway with it. I kind of let spirit lay it on me, really.
Yeah,
you know, wherever I need to go, where do I need to do? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go?
Yeah, and then they'll bring those opportunities to you.
Yeah.
So when you go into a house like that, you're going in as a medium, and is it people that are connected to the people that live there, or is it people that are connected to the building?
Either. Can be either. I mean, it depends why I'm going there. If I'm going to somebody's house to give them a reading, I'm going there to talk about whoever they've lost, you know. So I go there to look at the person, not the house.
Okay.
If I go to look at the house, I'm walking around the house, and they're obviously telling me things that they've picked up, or things that have happened within the house, or whatever, and that kind of contributes a little bit to what my energy, I suppose. Because I put it out there to my guides in a different way. I'm not there to read the person, I'm there to read the place. So
that's
I'm
what
like,
I was just about to ask, actually. Is it a different vibration you start working on when you're doing a location?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of still like finding my way with that as well. When I walk around a building, I'm kind of like, oh, all of a sudden, bang, bang, oh, this is there and that's there, and why is that wall there? That wasn't there before. Or, oh, there's a woman. Did you know that there was a woman here? Or somebody will start telling me something that's happened in the house, and then I'll get a mental picture, excuse me, of somebody in my head, and when I'll describe that person, and they'll say, oh my God, yeah, that's exactly it, or we've got a picture of them, or, you know, it's definitely, I thought it was a woman, or, you know, so somebody will always validate what I'm saying, which is good because, or they'll say, oh, another medium came here and told us that, which is good for me because then I know that I'm, it's good for me. It's my own validation, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And that's always nice to have. On that note, let's take a quick little break. And then when we come back, we'll continue with this discussion.
Hello, Harry Price here. Good evening. If there's nothing myself and everybody else enjoy here on the other side more is the sit back and relax and listen to Parasearch Radio with its paranormal news, views and reviews from across the UK and beyond. Make sure to find out more about them on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web, whatever they are, to keep up to date with all their broadcasts throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy them as much as we do over here. Hello? Is anybody there?
Welcome back. You're listening to The Spirit Dimension. I'm Kerry Greenaway and I'm joined by Clare Hinks in the studio. Now, before the break, we were talking about the differences between working with an individual person and then working in a location or a building, and how the energy you work with is very different. And we've also talked about spirit guides and lots of different spirit guides that you work with along your journey. Do you have a specific guide for locations? Do you find that has happened?
No, not yet. No, nothing. No, I haven't had that experience yet. I have the same guides working with me currently, but as I said before, that can change like when I least expect it. So the more I do in buildings, maybe my guides will change again. But the guide that I have in charge, if you want, at the moment, his name's Dominic, and I feel like I need to tell the world about him to make that connection with spirit. So he's on a much higher vibration, and he's much more of an angelic being. He's very blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and he wears a white robe. And I was quite shocked when he turned up because I was like, "Oh God, what's going on?" But he's constantly talking to me about my vibration. And before I work now, when I say work, I mean like going to do a group or do a one-to-one reading. And I ground myself and I get myself kind of in my zone, if you like. And he'll stand behind me, and I can feel this warmth up my back, which does raise my vibration weirdly, and I get so hot. I get really hot when I'm working. I can't explain it. Like I can feel it. I can feel how different I feel since he's been on the scene. So I think that he will continue to do whatever he's doing, work with me on that vibration until my vibration needs to change again. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does. Now, Claire, when we first spoke, you gave me a reading. You did that remotely.
Yeah.
Because that was over Skype without a camera. I would just like to
That's
add.
an experience,
so it's just like a telephone line. That was a bit strange because people generally find me incredibly difficult to read in that way. So how does that work when you're doing it remotely?
So this is something that I haven't been doing for very long, actually. Right, I'm laughing because I can't believe how easy it is, and I always worried about it. But when I do it remotely, I just it works the same way. I just kind of am listening to your voice, and I'm all of a sudden, oh, there's Grandad. He's standing beside me. Oh, Kerry, I've got your Grandad beside me.
I know, it was rather strange. A strange moment.
Yeah, this is what he looks like. He's wearing a suit. Don't even get me started all over again.
No, I won't get you started all over again.
No.
You get all emotion again.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, bless you. Save that for after.
Yeah, we'll do that after.
Yeah. The crying as well.
Both of us.
Yeah. So I just kind of get a picture of that person, and I hear them, see them exactly the same way as I would as if you were sitting in front of me. I can't even explain it. It's just it just amazes me.
Okay, now your cousin is in the chat room.
I've seen, because I'm actually working the chat room.
As I did say, she can see you. Now,
I can.
he has said, have you ever done any remote viewing of a location via spirit or work in predicting future events?
Okay, so I don't predict things because I'm not a psychic. I'm a medium. So, but if I get a feeling about something, then I will tell somebody. I've actually talked a lot about babies being born, and people have said, "Oh, you said I was going to have a baby, and I did." Or random things, but not on a regular basis. I'm just reading what he said. I've done a remote viewing of a location. Oh yeah, I did actually. I did, and he knows that I did. I did that before I went to Swanage the first time. Actually, on Ashley's instruction. So I sat down. I'd never been to the Royal Oak before, and I sat down with a paper and pen and just thought about the place. Wrote down. Mind, I was walking around the place, but I had this child kind of just came to me and showed me round in my mind's eye. So I wrote down everything that I saw. I wrote down any names that I got, put it in an envelope, sealed it, took it to Swanage, and nearly had a heart attack when I walked in the place because I felt like I'd been there before. Completely. It was completely what I'd seen and written down.
That's amazing.
But that's the only time. That's the only time I've done that.
So
really.
Would you, if you was going to go and do an investigation in somewhere else, would you do that again? Would that be like a nice little experiment for you?
Oh, it would be actually, yeah, it would be. But I do describe rooms and houses and views and things a lot to people when I'm giving them readings as well. So I do see buildings quite a lot as part of what I do anyway. But I would like to, I probably should have another go at doing that just as an experiment for myself, really.
Yeah, and maybe even get a photograph of a building you know nothing of and see what impressions you pick up. I found that's always an interesting experiment.
Yeah, that would be a good one, actually. Yeah, it's
I
a little
might have
bit
to send you a little location later on just to have see what you think, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little bit like psychometry, isn't it? When you hold a picture of somebody or an object and see what you can pick up from those. Which isn't really an area
psychometry?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not really an area that that I'm drawn. You know, I run a development circle a couple of times a month, and we have a go at all sorts of different things. And one of the things that we've done is psychometry, and it's good fun. And everybody likes to, and some of the people there have been really good, like really accurate with some of the things that they've said. For me personally, like I'm a bit hit or miss with psychometry, I find, which is a bit weird. But it's not an area that I feel really drawn to. I do it to have a bit of fun, really, and just to see what I can, just to push my limits.
Well, you have to try different things to see what, how you could work in different ways, don't you? Because that was my next question to you, really. Have you used any other kind of tools like tarot cards, oracle cards, all that sort of stuff? Have you tried any of that? And how did that seem to work with how you work?
Yes, is the answer. Years ago, when I started, before I went to Swanage years ago, when I was like a teenager, I went on my mum and I did a tarot workshop, and I had my own deck of tarot cards, and I did find that quite easy then, but then I didn't, and they were quite accurate as well, but I didn't spend a lot of time focusing on them, and they got put away, and I don't feel I need to use them now, because that's not what I find. The connection with the medium connection is more for me what is the important thing, However, I have got some angel oracle cards, and I've got some mermaids and dolphins cards, the Doreen Virtue.
I know that deck.
Find quite nice to use. Yeah, I kind of find them quite nice to use sometimes during a reading if somebody needs a little bit of guidance, or sometimes just for fun. They lighten the mood a little bit, and people like to. Sometimes it's good to have something to shuffle, a bit of handable. But I have found I was really drawn to the angel deck, and when I got those, then I was tuning in. I found that I was tuning into angels, people's angels. I did some freebie readings for people just to practice with them, and I was tuning into their guardian angels and stuff. Really weird. Really weird.
How is angel energy different from a spirit energy? Obviously, they're an ascended being. I know that, but for people,
well, I'm still learning. But from what I've learned so far, they are much calmer, gentler beings, and they are linked to us through our through our weaknesses. Then, so they will. So, like, if I'm not a very confident person, or I don't know, really emotional, then my angel will be quite strong emotions, and will lift my confidence and be a confident, help me be confident, and just weaknesses be my strength. Basically, your angel is your strength when you have weaknesses.
Okay. So,
this is
where
what
do
I'm
I go
still
from that?
learning.
I'm actually doing a show in a couple of weeks on angels, because I've never connected to an angel ever.
Haven't you?
Never.
I have my own angel. I'm really aware of my own angel. He's massive. Well, it. It's not even a he or a she. It's just an it.
They seem to be androgynous, don't they?
Yeah. Well, some are. Sometimes people sit in front of me and I'm like, your angel's a totally female. Other days, that not. Chester. Mine's called Chester.
You get names and all sorts. I'm like,
oh, I know.
My goodness. I'm quite jealous now.
Just a joy. Hey, what? It's really busy in my house.
It is, isn't it? How do you cope with all these people popping in and saying hello to you whilst trying to live a day-to-day life?
Just don't even go there. That's a whole other show.
I'd be forever going, enough everybody, will you just be quiet for a minute?
Yes, stop speaking.
So you have children of your own?
I do.
And have you noticed that your gift has passed down into any of those children?
Momentarily, in one or two. My oldest, no. Well, when he was 2, he said something a bit strange to me one day about how we were holding our wine glasses because we drink wine. And
good girl off my own heart.
And he's named after his our granddad, my granddad, who was called Herbert William, and his name is William. And we were sitting holding our wine glasses one day at the table, and my granddad always used to hold his wine glass with the stem between his fingers, and we weren't holding our wine glasses like that. We were holding them round the bowl. Yeah. And he said to us, "You shouldn't be holding your glasses like that. You should be holding them like this." And he picked up the glass with the stem between his fingers.
Red wine then, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I said, "Why were you? Why are you doing that?"
Wine connoisseur over here.
Yeah, like you're 2.5. How do you even know you're 3? Whatever he was, 3 years old.
Yeah.
And he said, "Because Granddad told me." And that was the only time that he's ever said anything like that. And we were like, "Oh wow, well, the only person I know that ever used to hold their glass like that would have been Granddad." But he didn't know Granddad because he obviously passed years before William was born. But and my daughter, she's really into fairies and all things girly. But she has not so much lately, but probably 12 months ago, she would talk to me a lot about fairies coming into her bedroom and talking to her, and she said to me one day a fairy had come in through her window and that it talked to her, and I said, "Well, what did it say to you?" And she said, "Well, I couldn't hear it, Mummy, it was too small."
Oh, bless her.
But I thought that really interested me, because at that age, she was like 3. How could she work out that a fairy would be so small she wouldn't be able to hear it?
Mm.
But yeah, a fairy was there and it was talking to her, but she couldn't hear it because it was too small.
Do you think that was just a way of spirit manifesting itself so she wasn't scared of it?
Maybe. I don't know. That's what I mean. That really interests me. I don't know. I do feel like she loves to sit and play with my crystals. She's very in tune. She'll sit and do chakras with me. She knows all her chakra colours. She's very well trained, my daughter.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, and my middle son, he's just a little bit aware on and off. He's 12, and he said a couple of things to me where he said he's felt a little bit aware of people around him and things. So who knows? Watch this space. I think they're all still growing, aren't they? They're all still maturing and stuff.
That's
so
true. That's true.
See, and they're each on their own journey. Same as me. So same as all of us. So we'll just see what happens. I'd like to think.
I was just curious to see if it was manifesting, excuse me, in the same way that it manifested for you at such a young age. Do you know what I mean? Whether they were getting that babble of voices all the time, whether or not that was happening to them too. I was just curious.
No one said that yet, but my son has said on a couple of occasions that he has seen the same two people keep turning up. So I'm just watching to see what happens with that. But I don't feel threatened by them.
No, but at least they've got a good teacher to take them through that journey like you had with your mum. Do you know what I mean? You've got that acceptance of that going on in your household, you know, because a lot of, I grew up in a household and it was like so sceptical or cynical that it was like, no, there's nothing there, nothing happening, nothing at all. And I'd be like, well, hold on a second, you know, I can hear that. I can hear it, you know, but not voices. It wasn't voices. It's really important. It's really important to me to not squash it. If a child is saying, I can hear this or I can see that or I'm aware of such and such, I say to everybody that says that to me, nurture it, encourage it. Don't just stamp on it, because then, you know, we're born with that ability and society knocks it out of us. You know, when we're born, we've just come from spirit. We're fresh, you know, and look at all the children and all the things that have happened where children have remembered past lives and, you know, amazing things. And I just think don't knock it out don't bang it out of them. If they've got it at an early age, nurture it and keep it there. So just before I move on to the next question, James in our chat room, thank you for joining us, James, has said, it could have been really a fairy.
Or it could have been a fairy.
I don't know. It could have been a fairy. I don't know.
It could have been a fairy. I like to think there are fairies as well. I've never seen one, but I would never say never, because I talk to dead people every day.
Well, this is true. And I have a friend of mine that comes round who went on a retreat weekend. And some of the experience she told me, it was like a connect with the fairies retreat. And some of the experience she told me she had on that occasion was quite astonishing, which I'll tell you about another time, because we're not talking about her, we're talking about you. So listening to what you're saying, you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah, I do.
So how do you feel the process happens when you pass? Do you go into a little waiting room and look at your life that you've just lived and write down the mistakes and plan out your next soul journey?
We are, we're obviously, what we're in now is just what we travel in, isn't it? You know, the rest of it is our spirit. So when we pass, we leave our body behind and we go, I like the way you said that, waiting room. I quite like that. But we go back to spirit, and we might not come back straight away, but we've all got lessons to learn. So if we've learned all our lessons in this life, I don't believe that we need to come back again. But if we choose to, we can. I mean, it's a massive can of worms, isn't it? Like reincarnation. Oh, yes. It's a massive can of worms. I could waffle on. I don't feel qualified enough to waffle on, to be honest.
What's your opinion? It's just about your opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion, I feel that we come back if we haven't finished learning. You know, if we've got more boxes to tick, more things to learn, more things to know, then we'll be back. I don't feel there's no time in spirit, so we won't leave this life today necessarily and come back tomorrow. It might not be 20, 30, 40 years till we come back again, but if we've still got things to do, we'll be back again.
Okay, another big question for you then. Is it time relevant? So if you come back, would you come back sort of just like in a linear time, or could you come back as somebody in the past, as it were?
Oh God, that's a very good question. That is, ask Ashley.
Oh no, it gets me brain going all the time, that one. I'm asking you, Dave.
Do you know what? I guess, yeah. Do you know what? I get a bit bemused by the whole time thing, like the past, present, future thing, because over there in spirit, there is no time. I mean, we're always moving forward, aren't we? So yes, yeah. I guess you could go back. Yeah, you could go back to learn, but I always think that we're moving forward. So in my mind, we're always moving forward, not going back. But I suppose everybody's probably got a different opinion of that.
It is one of those. It's quite a difficult question. I've asked you a couple of really difficult questions there, so I do apologise.
It's okay.
You didn't think it was going to be a complete breeze in the park here, Claire, did you?
Okay, I was getting a bit nervous.
I could tell. Okay, moving on. How quickly then, after you pass, could you come forward in spirit to your loved ones, or is that not necessarily a time thing either? So it could be 5 minutes, or it could be 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen somebody and spoken with them 10 minutes after they've passed. I sat with somebody while they passed and spoke with them before they even left. And I did a group reading where a boy was there and he'd lost his granddad 2 days before, and his granddad was there. You know, I've done lots of readings like that where somebody's just gone like a day before or 2 weeks before, and their loved one has come forward. So no time relevance. If they're okay and they're good to connect, they will.
Okay.
Easy.
Oh, okay. So are people, when they pass, because you've had that experience of quite a quick connection after passing, how are they receiving that passing? Are they very generally okay about that? Are they bewildered by it?
In the circumstances where I was with somebody when they pass, he was prepared to pass because he'd been in that state for a little while, and he was prepared to pass, and his wife was there waiting for him. And for me, that was amazing because I felt extremely privileged to sit there and experience that, because not everybody can. And that was a bit of a turning point for me, actually, to be part of that, because it made me realise how real death is, because I watched somebody leave this life and literally walk into the next, you know. And he wasn't bewildered. He was happy because he got up and walked away to his wife, you know. So it was a happy experience. And I do so many readings for people, and I say to them, one of the things I say a lot is, be happy I was here, not sad I'm gone.
That's really nice, actually. I like that.
Lovely, isn't it? And that's really that's not my saying. That's what Spirit give me to say there, you know, to their people. And I just think that's so lovely. Don't be sad that I'm gone. Be happy I was here.
Anyway.
No, don't cry.
I'm not going to cry. No. You know me. I don't cry. So you are actually going to be a speaker at Sage Paracon this year, aren't you?
I know. I'm very scared. But yes, I am. I'm embracing these challenges.
They are certainly big ones coming your way at the moment. So how did that happen? I mean, you know, you've done platform mediumship. How did that happen that you end up being a speaker at Sage Paracon?
Well, that's a bit of a story by itself, really. Obviously, Ashley was speaker at Paracon last year, so he has MJ Dickinson as a contact, and so I'd obviously liked the Sage Paranormal page and was sort of seeing the Paracon develop on Facebook and on social media like everybody is, and MJ was advertising doing some readings because she wanted, obviously, she won't mind me saying, she was getting back into doing her card readings again. Mm-hmm. So she was looking for guinea pigs, and I messaged her and said, I'd love a reading because no one ever does me. Somebody do me. So she did, and we got on ever so well on the phone, and I said to her, I'll tell you what, I'd really like to give you a reading, like, because I haven't done any online stuff at that point, like to give you a reading. And she said, oh yeah, that'd be great. And I know that she said to you, didn't she, when she was on your show, that I'd given her a reading. Yeah. And it kind of just grew from there. And during that reading, she said to me, you need to be at the Paracon. And I just had a heart attack and said, okay. So that's how it came about, really. And I've doing that reading for MJ has actually launched me into a whole load of confidence into, actually, I can do online readings, so I'm going to do them. So, and on the phone, the remote thing, it's just, yeah. So that's how it's come about.
Fantastic. So how nervous on a scale of 1 to 10 are you about doing that?
About 10.
No pressure then.
I'm really looking forward to the whole experience. I am totally looking forward to all of it, but I am not going to lie, I am a little bit scared about talking about myself for 45 minutes.
Well, you've nearly done an hour tonight, so I'm sure you'll cope brilliantly.
Yeah, but you're asking me questions, so that's easy.
Just take it as a base and then build your talk on that is where I would say.
Okay. maybe I should have you in my ear.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure we can arrange something.
Yeah.
So you have done a little bit of paranormal investigating, and we spoke about earlier. You did Bob in Jail, and you've done obviously the Royal Oak in Swanage. You also have done Jamaica Inn, haven't you?
Yes. I was the medium at Jamaica Inn for a brief spell. It was amazing. Jamaica Inn is an amazing place with super duper energy, and I don't feel like I got my hands on it for long enough because sadly the people that I was involved with, something happened between them and the owners and things, and it all sort of fell apart, and so that kind of left me a bit high and dry, which I was a bit sad about because it was a really good opportunity, and it's so lovely over there. I recommend a visit if you're ever in North Cornwall because it is amazing, and there's a lot of noise. Like at night, you can hear the horses in the yard, and it's just amazing. I just didn't get to spend enough time there, really.
Well, that is definitely on my bucket list, Jamaica Inn.
Yeah.
When I was down that way before, we tried to get in, but we was very last minute and we couldn't. So it didn't surprise me that we couldn't, but it's definitely on my bucket list, that one.
Yeah. It's really creepy at night over there because obviously it's right in the middle. It's right on the dual carriageway, but it's right on the mall.
Yeah.
So when you're part of that environment, and you're on an investigation, and you're there and you're sitting there in the dark very quietly. It's really, really interesting. Really interesting.
So do you find it hard when you're investigating to shut off that mediumship side for the people that are there and concentrate on
yes, actually,
just investigating?
Yeah, although I haven't done loads of investigating, as I said before, but when I have, I kind of just seem to be able to home in on the building and the surroundings that I'm in rather than individual people. So
we spoke earlier about that, didn't we, in the show? Thank you. It's up. We're done. We've done an hour.
Phew.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, Claire. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Kerry. It's been lovely. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Now, guys, if you miss any of our shows, you can catch up. They're all on podcast or on YouTube. And also, don't forget, you can like us on our Facebook group or like page. And on that note, I just want to say thank you again to Claire.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you all, guys. Don't forget, we have shows going out every single night of the week. So join us throughout the week. Tomorrow evening, we have the Parasearch UK Radio American show on Paramania replay show, the Encore show. And it's Graham Smith tomorrow, who we interviewed Thursday. So that's going out live tomorrow night. Not live, replayed out tomorrow night. Tuesday, Paul Rook. Wednesday, Haunted Histories. Thursday, the KTPF Reload. And then Friday, you've got me back again for the Dark Nights show. Thank you once again all for joining me in the chat room. And a little shout out. Thank you, Ashley, for introducing me to Claire, because she's been an absolute dream. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you one night in the week.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.